Here we go. Kalimera, Kalispera, whatever time you are watching, this is Mappa. I'm Stel, Thassos here, and we have a special guest with us. Would you like to introduce yourself, young man?
Yes. Hello, guys. Thank you for having me. I like the name. This is Mappa. And the no Choftes too. I said to my girlfriend that she doesn't know the name No Choftes. I said to her, No Choftes. And she was laughing. And she was saying to me, how did you think this thing? No, it's not mine. Yeah. So, yes, with this story, we begin. I'm Savvas Pilakoutas. I'm a sports reporter. I worked as a press officer in ANORTHOSIS for 4 years. I work in a website like Bala. I'm working at KARMIOTISSA. I write in some newspaper for sports, of course. So this is my story. I'm on the sport for 10 years from my 21. Now I'm 31. And as you can,
Mashallah.
as you can see, I wear this shirt with as a proud gunner because all this year I wear it, and you can imagine what I heard all these years, the last 10 and more years.
And DOXA, it's okay. Do you think Arsenal are going to win the league this season? Is it Arsenal's year?
You know, I have this discussion with a lot of fans of Arsenal, and because of City, we are not sure. I mean, Liverpool supposed to get the championship with 90, 96, 99 points. And they didn't win because of City. I mean, because it's crazy. It's crazy if you can imagine a team get up to 90 points and they didn't win the league. So it doesn't matter if you are good enough. You have to be better than City to win the championship.
Yeah.
And we have another match with them. 5 points in Premier League is nothing. Maybe in Cyprus you can win the league with 5 points. In Premier League, no way.
Different story, but it's certainly an interesting season for the Premier League. It's about time Arsenal had a title challenge, because I remember the great team with Wenger going a whole season unbeaten. Even before that, I'm showing my age now. George Graham, the great Arsenal that won the league in 1991, only losing 1 game. That's why I'm showing my age here, bro. Help me, please.
I don't remember that, and I'm old. So
liar. This
I would have been
guy.
3 there.
Okay. Let's move on. Well, let's talk PARALIMNI, because that is what we're effectively here for.
Yeah.
And the first game we're going to discuss is a short one, because I know we've got Group B games right now, and let's get it right. It's not the best part of the league, the Group B section, but there's a lot of entertaining football, and a lot has happened, especially at the weekend. On Friday, it was KARMIOTISSA beating PARALIMNI by 2-1. Now, I've cut down the highlights here, but Thassos, this was a very, very entertaining game, mate. We had penalties, red cards, goals.
We had the red cards rescinded. We had all kinds of things going on. So but on PARALIMNI's side, I mean, I kind of keeping an eye on the game. PARALIMNI's side, they had the 2 penalties, but apart from that, they didn't really offer too much going forward. So we're gonna watch here the first penalty. Spogliarit's putting off save, a poor penalty, but he did a good save and then caught the rebound as well. Here, red card. I don't think it's a red card. I mean, what do other people think? I don't think it's a red card, purely just because it's not a professional foul. I think that's the only reason it's not a red card. And I think that's why it got rescinded and changed to a yellow instead.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense. What do you think, Savvas?
Yeah, right decision to change the decision. It's not a red card. Okay, it's a strong foul, but it's a yellow. It's a little. I mean, it's not near of the area of the goalkeeper, so I think it's straight yellow for sure, but not a red card.
Yeah. So we've got the 2 KARMIOTISSA goals as well. So Malone is fairly standard header from a corner. Paralimni defense nowhere near. And then again, it's kind of the 1-2 between Malone and Elalucci. Very well worked. Good finish, but again, the Paralimni defense kind of nowhere.
Yeah,
Malone that's Malone again, isn't it?
Malone,
So he conceded both the penalties that Paralimni had. So he could have been a villain. But there you go. The second penalty is not a mistake there. And then
DOXA getting sent off for a clear elbow, and didn't he give? Was it a second yellow? Did he give him a yellow and then a red?
Yeah, it was second yellow. Yes.
And he's complaining as well. What are you complaining about?
Yeah. Like, imagine he gave an elbow and he's complaining like, "Oh,
what did I do?
Yellow. What do you see?
Look at the camera. I didn't do nothing."
and imagine there's VAR too. I mean, okay, he's going to see it.
Yeah. I think it's something that happened last week as well. I said, we have cameras. They're going to look at the cameras. Don't do it. But yeah.
Savvas, DOXA joined from ANORTHOSIS, didn't he? Was he from ANORTHOSIS before? No.
Yes.
Was he that aggressive at ANORTHOSIS? Was he that kind of player?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think or to remember if he received a red card in ANORTHOSIS, and I'm not sure if he received. But I tell you what happens. What's the difference? He was in a team like ANORTHOSIS. I mean, that was the team that most of the times, let's say, ANORTHOSIS wins the other teams, and they keep ball. They were winning. In this kind of team, even if KARMIOTISSA win in this time of game, you have to do more things than actual player do to a big team. I mean, you have to mark, you have to run, you have to score. You are playing without a kinitron. I mean, to have something to win. Okay, you win a game, but so you are playing and you don't have something to run behind. So you have some maybe more nerves, let's say. I don't know. I think that's the reason. Because in ANORTHOSIS, I think he didn't receive a red card. Or if he received maybe one in 2 years, 2.5 years.
Lovely. I want to talk about Elalucci because I think this is a very, very talented player. And we've seen the type of goals that he scores. We can see his link-up play. He's a very intelligent player. Now, I think one day, KARMIOTISSA will be a top 6 team because of the money that they have. But obviously, they keep changing coaches, so we know that's not a guarantee. But what do you two make of Elalucci so far since joining the club in January?
Do you want to go?
So about KARMIOTISSA, I think in terms of επιθετικά, yes, it's a good team. I mean, they score goal. They have good player. Eladuzi, Katsas plays in ANORTHOSIS, Duris, Zelaya. So they have many good players in front that they can play in big teams. I mean, Zelaya, Eladuzi, I can imagine them playing in OMONOIA, in APOEL, in ANORTHOSIS. So they have very good player there, but they never make it to feel like a team. I am seeing many individual good player, but not a team. They never been a team. Maybe because of the many changes of the coach. Maybe they changed 5, 6 coach. How many?
They're on their 6. They're on number 6 now.
A coach comes 2 months, another coach 2 months. They are trying to change things, to change players, to change psychology, to change tactics. It's difficult to have. I mean, to have the same image in every match, every match. So I think this is the problem. It's not that it's a bad team, and maybe next year we are going to see better KARMIOTISSA, and maybe with better decision as we speak about the coaches thing.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much in agreement with that. They've got players like Ela Lucci who can see the trickery, the mastery that they have with the ball, the vision that they have. Like for instance, the goal, the second goal they scored, they 1-2 with Maloney. So there's definitely players like that there. I think they're a bit lacking in defense, and another thing that they have is they've got a lot of players. I've mentioned before, I've called them OAPFC. I've talked about, Huberchan being 50 years old and Juris having... Juris is a very good player, but he's
careful what you say.
Career.
Careful what you say about this guy. It's my friend, yeah.
No, I'm being nice. He's a very good player, but he's had a very good career, hasn't he?
Yeah,
absolutely.
But Karmiotis has a lot of players at the moment that are at that stage of their career.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they do have younger players as well that they've brought in January. Lukili was very good in January and February.
He's from Debrecen.
Yeah, and a few other players like that. Spoljaric has had 2 very good games with no blockout. They've got a team that they can build up on. They just need to just stay with a coach. Just
stability.
Give them 3. Don't give them 2 months. Give them 3 months.
And don't bring in Sofroni again. Leave Sofroni out of the picture.
I agree with the word. They need stability. I mean, every 2 months. What can you do? Even if your job in 2 months.
Yeah.
Nothing. You can't do anything. Can't do anything. And some clubs take more than 3 or 4 months just for the players to get used to each other. It's difficult. It's crazy, but this is Cyprus, as they say. So anyway, Embrazi. Right, next game.
Well, before we do,
go on.
I had a bit. So obviously, Karmiotissa have like 6 fans at the stadium, and they keep getting flares out. All right, I 6, but but there's a few people there, and and these last 2 or 3 games they've been getting the flares out, and somebody on Twitter had asked me to come up with a name for these ultras. So,
these guys.
You're bringing up the picture there it is. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, why not exactly? So a couple of things. Somebody could said Fodovolides boys, but I mean, if you're going to call them that, then you need to call every ultras of every team that. So one was War Boys because obviously Polemiskia, Polemos.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. See. So hit me up, Karmiotissa. I've got ideas. The other one is like the jokey one, say other teams can call them, is that obviously the team's named after the church in Polemiskia that's called Panagia Karmiotissa. So, the virgins.
Ooh.
Okay.
Naughty.
That's a naughty one, But yeah.
And I'm thinking in the jokes of other fans making of them already.
Yeah, there you go. But either way, for some reason, the Karmiotissa social media, the people running the social media accounts, want to put proof up for the Cyprus FA to give them fines every week.
Oh, mate.
Oh, there you go. I mean, they already owe 8,600 euros that they haven't paid yet because of the last Digastiga for their games against Olympiakos, APOEL'S, and ARIS.
About the PYRO?
No. About just in general. So because they haven't paid the fines for whatever they had the fines for previously, the Gastiga then kind of at the end of the whole thing, they kind of put how much they owe, and if they don't pay it within 15 days, they get a 3-point deduction. and they've got 3 separate fines that they haven't paid. So if they don't pay the 8,600 euros by next week, they'll get a 9-point deduction.
Yes, I think they will pay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of teams that happen this thing. If you see the Castigui, the decisions, there are a lot of teams. Maybe now it's in a worse place, KARMIOTISSA, but it happens. I don't know why they didn't pay, because at the end of the day they will pay. But okay, I mean, it doesn't make sense because they are going to pay. It's not like they are not going to pay. So just pay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because if they lose the 9 points, then they will have something to play for.
It's not 3 points, 9.
Pay.
Yeah, because it's 3 separate fines that they haven't paid.
And they'll pay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, KARMIOTISSA fans. Next season you'll be holding a PYRO next season, Benazir. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
No problem.
They'll pay. They're right. Next game, Salamina beats AKRITAS 4-1. Came from a goal behind. XAVI gave them the lead. Then Thiago equalized. Doragaray made it 2-1. And 2 goals in injury time from Gumuris and Flori Tolmes gave Salamina a win to kick off their Group B campaign. Thassos, this game had a lot of incident. By I mean incident, I mean goals. So I cut it down because for some reason the original highlights were like 7 minutes. But yeah, it was a comfortable win in the end for Salamina, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the kind of first half was very even, and then kind of the second goal went in for Nea Salamina, and AKRITAS fell apart. They absolutely fell apart. I mean, Nea Salamina, again, they've got very, very good players in that team. But unlike the discussion we had with KARMIOTISSA, Salamina seem to be a team rather than individuals. So you have players like Chico Banza, some Miguelito, players like this who are very good at, in the center of the park and out of the wings. But they seem to have got something like they've got something that glues them together. And I think that's one, the stability of obviously having Boursaididis there since last season, and 2, they've gone and been very shrewd in the transfer market, because there's some of these players, they weren't considered, I think, prior to this season. So players like Chico Banza, I think they brought him in from Xilodimbo, I think. Is that right? Yeah. So. And Malekidis left back or right back? He's a defender anyway. He's on loan from APOLLON, and he's not played that much for APOLLON. He's been there for 3-4 seasons. So it's just finding these players that maybe are out of favour with other teams or haven't had a look in, and Boursaididis is getting them performing to a level that you wouldn't necessarily consider them to be at, which is why they got really close to getting to the top 6.
Absolutely. And Sava, when Salamina got promoted, I was very happy for Bursa, the head coach, because I like him. I think he's a very progressive coach. And to get Salamina to where they are at the moment in the league, granted, they're not in the top 6, but they were very close to getting top 6. I think that's a fantastic achievement in itself. And it leads me on to my next question. I think he will be at a bigger club next season. What do you think?
Yes, I think it's not a team for Group B. I think it's a team for Group A. It's a pity that they lost this chance, because in all the championship they play very good. I mean, they were very good defensively. They have good play. They have Florians that I like him as a center for, Adoni, the Chico, and Mike Papaioannou, I think is the technical director. Every time he's in Nea Salamina, he's doing the same thing. I mean, I think it's the one that fight Diago, Correa that plays in ANORTHOSIS, players that go to big teams and they play and they buy them for 2,000-3,000. and then they get 10,000, 12,000. So they find players. They have some young guys. Sergiu, Kouchouros came from Salamina.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So they are trying to build every time, but it's difficult. I spoke with POURSA'S one time. What a friend. We were speaking when I was in ANORTHOSIS and he was in Salamina, and he told me that, you know, the most difficult part for us as Salamina is that we make the players, we get the players, but it's very difficult to keep it in our team. So it's very difficult to build a team if every time a big team came by. That I think it will happen again, and buy your best player every time you're building a team, and every time. And I think this was the chance for Nea Salamina to be in the top 6, and I'm not sure if the team will be so good or as good as this year, the next year, because there are chance the guys from PAFOS, ARIS, KARMIOTISSA that have the money, they didn't make the team they want at this time, or they are not in the level with the money they put on the teams. And if you see Nea Salamina and the money they have, their budget, you can see that they work more as a team. Sometimes, as we tell, money don't play football. So it's a very good team, yes, because of POURSA'S, I think, and because they are trying to make a team with players that some young guys, some guys that Malekidis, he doesn't play in APOLLON, so they get it. Adoni, they get them from Ethnikos that relegated. Marca, Santiago, that it's not in the level to play for OMONOIA, for RAIK, but for Salamina it's a perfect fit. So they are trying with what they know and how difficult it is to build a team under this the Domena, to have a team that every year could play in the same level. It's very difficult for them.
Yeah. And what about Bursa then? Because we have been, me in particular, I know Thassos is a Bursa fan, but me in particular, I've been very impressed with how he's, because look, he was at APOEL'S, he was sacked after a few games. Obviously, Sofroni came in, and I think they was treated a little bit unfairly at APOEL'S. I personally believe a lot of players were signed that he didn't particularly want. So for him to go to Salamina and get them promoted and play some very good football. I mean, we joke, we say Bursa ball. You know, some of the goals that they've scored this season have been incredible. The one-touch passing, the counter-attacking football, it's been very good to watch. But I still think he's got a different level. He can coach at a bigger club. That's what I believe, anyway.
Yes, you know, I think what happened in APOEL'S is they didn't treat him well, but you know, he know that he was going to APOEL'S in some of their worst period, for example. So he know that okay, now I'm going to APOEL'S. I risk it because the team is not so good as it is now, and APOEL'S they never risk. I mean, they get Milojevic for 5,000 per month, maybe like Sofroni. So they pay a lot to have a coach, and they were in a period that the team, okay, needs something a little more. I mean, in kind of money. Bursa, it wasn't the coach as it is maybe today, a year ago. Maybe now it's even better as a coach. So he risked with his choice to go in APOEL'S. And the risk didn't go well at all, but he didn't have the chances. I think he know that he won't have many chances to be in APOEL'S, and he have to give the best. But I think he could get another one chance in a big team. You see Sofroni. I mean, he get from APOEL'S to KARMIOTISSA, and now he's OMONOIA. So I think something like this will happen with POURSA'S, and he will have his second chance in a big team. And now this time he will be more orimos posferica. I don't know the word in English.
Yeah. The thing is, you said that Bursa took over APOEL'S when they were at a difficult point. They had Mick McCarthy as head coach. it doesn't get much lower than that, really. So I'm sorry, Mick. I just don't like you. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, so
also AKRITAS are going down. I mean, we're all in agreement.
AKRITAS are finished.
Yeah, they're done.
That's it. We're done out here. Your favorite goalkeeper, Akos Onodi, didn't play again. So
give him a chance, man. I mean, what you got to lose?
Well, they're not losing anything. Well, they're losing a lot at the moment. So
yeah, at the moment. So
you know, they conceded 9 goals in the last 2 games. Play another goalkeeper.
To see.
Yeah, he keeps getting nominated for like best save of the match game. Well, it's all well and good saving one. Oh, no, it's all well and good saving one. What about the other 4? You know.
I know it's getting.
No, it's true. I didn't think it like this. Yeah, it's true. They give the best save. Okay, I make a best save, but I concede 4.
No. Exactly. But anyway, let's move on.
Anyway, Hade, next game. Olympiakos beats Yanevski's, I was going to say Sean Dyche for a second. Sean Dyche's Esselink with the winner for Olympiakos. Our friend Joel Mal pulling off a fantastic save. Look at that. One-handed. Joel. Well done, man. Fantastic save. But Esselink scored the winner. Guy that's been on loan from APOEL'S all season. Sava, what do you make of Olympiakos under Sergidis? I think they've improved clearly. Do you think they'll stay up?
Yes, but what we see from Olympiakos the last, I think, 8 games, because I watched, you can imagine the 2 match against ANORTHOSIS in Cup. The last months after the moves they make in January with the players they came, and if you see me in the midfield, I think they didn't concede some goals. I think they concede 1 goal every game in the last 8 matches. I mean, 1 from ANORTHOSIS in the Cup in Makario, 1 in Andros Papadopoulos, now against AL. Before they have another 2 or 3 matches. So the one thing that Sergidis did, and I think he said it in some of after the game, in some press conference, that he was trying to make some change in the defense so they don't concede some goals, and then maybe try to score some goals, and that's what we are seeing from Olympiakos. I mean, it's amazing the excellency the last maybe 7-8 game from Olympiakos to what we see before January or early in January. It's interesting to see if they are going to make it, because they are playing in the semi-finals of the Cup. They are winning AL in Alpha Mega Stadium. So imagine if Olympiakos was some other teams, a big team. Everyone will write about it. You win in Syria against a team that it's AL, don't concede so many goals, and you're in the semi-finals. What else would you ask for a team if you're with Olympiakos?
Of course. And AL, we've been talking about how good they've been defensively all season. Well, should I say when Yanevski took over, because at the beginning they were dog shit. But I think only APOEL'S, in the first 26 games, only APOEL'S had a better defensive record than AL, but their main problem was scoring goals. Miralas wasn't scoring as many, Kataniklic wasn't scoring as many, Berahino wasn't scoring as many, so they were relying a lot on players like Casa and maybe Chibola to help them. But I think they're a team that are improving, but if they do invest more in the summer, which I'm guessing they will, do you think if they bring more attacking players, they won't be as good defensively? Because we know that, what's the central defender's name? The Ukrainian fella, what's his name? Bilova. He might go back to Dynamo Kiev. And I don't know if Muriel is going to be in goal, because obviously the Portuguese fella's in goal now. Or Spanish guy, I forget his name. He's Spanish? Portuguese? I can't
Miguel
remember.
Oliveira.
Portuguese, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Portuguese, yeah.
So about AL, The first thing is that I love Viannevsky with the tactics and the way he's playing. I mean, I see him in Olympiakos. We see him how he changed AEL and defensively. I mean, it's amazing how good AEL become from the first game to the games that Viannevsky get. But okay, if you don't score, best thing will happen. You will have a draw or don't lose. So, but you have to win some match. But I tell you something. AEL, as I remember it, it's like this. I mean, even with Kerkes, strong team defensively, but they always have problem at the attack. They always have this problem. They build strong teams defensively in midfield. It's not easy for a team to win them, but they struggle at the attack. They always have this problem. And I think this is why you have to pay more money to buy a good center for than maybe a defenser or a midfield that you can find one. You can get as a loan, but if a center for it's good, it's a little difficult to find him without pay a lot of money.
Now, I remember a couple of years ago they had Ryan Mayer, and he's gone to Ferencváros. But that was a very strong team, that AEL team that almost won the league. If it weren't for Vozinho making that stupid mistake against Bisesvar, they would have had a strong chance. But I remember they had Mayer, they had Manuel Torres, they had, who else did they have? Cito Riera. It was a good team, that AEL team. But then obviously they dismantled it and started again, and then they obviously had problems with Bebe, they had problems with Silas, etc., and here they are now. But I think Viannevsky is a very good coach, but maybe fans expect more because AEL are a historical club in Cyprus. They should be in the top 6, I believe, anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, at the beginning of the season, I've made it very well known that I made the big mistake of saying that they were going to come top, because they signed, like we said, the forward players. You know, Miralas. You had Kachaniklik. Have I said it right now this time?
Yes.
Okay, okay, good. And you know, quite a few attacking players that on paper seemed very exciting. And again, talking about AEL's defensive capabilities, they needed kind of that upgrade to the strike force, and thinking that these are players that are going to deliver for them. I went out and said, you know what, they could win this, but along with obviously kind of the drop in form of these. I mean, some of these are superstar players. You know, Miralas played for Belgium. He's played in the Premier League. He's played well in the Premier League as well. It's not just, he didn't just show up. And Berahino, the same. You know, these players are of a certain quality. But along with, I don't know, whatever like mentality issues that there seem to be with their forward line, they've also been as well for the last 6 months just constantly injury crisis after injury crisis after injury crisis, players in and out of the team because of just injuries. Chibola was out for 2 months. You had Miralas has been in and out because of fitness issues. Berahino's been in and out. It's been crazy. And I think that's what has happened. And financially, unless they get the new investor that they want, I don't think they'll be able to invest as heavily as they have done.
I have a little update about the alleged Saudi takeover. I spoke to someone that I can't say who, but someone that is pretty well connected to a company. I'm not going to go into that. But they said to me, when I asked them about the potential takeover, their exact words were bullshit. So I don't think that's going to happen, because I trust this person's judgment and then what they know and who they know. So yes, bullshit. But I am guessing that there's going to be a change in presidency in the summer. That's what I know anyway.
because I mean, again, I keep going back to the financial, the accounting that they submitted for last season, and they're very far in the minus, and that's before all the investment that they put in the summer as well. So I think they're in a very difficult place right now.
To be honest, I think that's the case for most teams, in all fairness, in Cyprus. I think unless you're Buff or Aris, you're pretty much in the shit, to quote Mr. Munoz. Speaking of which, let's talk about your team, Savvas. ANORTHOSIS, which you host the podcast. You didn't mention the ANORTHOSIS podcast, by the way. I'll let you do that first.
Yeah, I forget to mention it, to be honest. Yeah, you are right. So we are doing the Blue Zone podcast. I think podcast I'm bored because the things happen, not good things. I mean, if the things it's good, you are saying the same things as anyone else, and everyone is happy. But they are seeing, they watch us more people when ANORTHOSIS lose, or we are speaking about the board, all this stuff, because they want to learn what happened, because some things doesn't make sense. Sorry, and so we're trying to find the way. We're speaking with people, we're speaking with the board, we're speaking with players sometimes. So we're trying to make a resume to see why is that, what happened, how we can be better in this, because it's a shit year in no sense for ANORTHOSIS. I mean, they make everything wrong. Have a discussion today again. They start the previous year, this month. It was March that the site wrote about Larku that will came as a technical director. They asked Kespaya in the press conference, do you know it? How are you going to work with him? So when the team was trying to achieve their target to be in Europe or in the Cup, things start to happen, and they move a little big the Sorobia that was there until that time. So Larku come to see which players would do for him. Then they try to, they said to Gespaya, okay, we want you, but with not your technical team. That they know that Gespaya never did this. So they start bad from the beginning of building the new year. So New Year come. Everyone waited to be better than the previous, in all sense, in the coach, in the players, in all this stuff. And you go and you bring, and you are seeing now, not one player that could play for ANORTHOSIS. Not one. No, I don't. Not 3 or 4. They were wrong in all the players. There's no one player that could play if they have if they didn't have a Simbolio for 2 years, that could make it to a team that wants to. I will ask you, do you want any player of ANORTHOSIS? Expect the guys that came in January that could play in OMONOIA? Just name me one.
Punchin. I'd take Jason Punchin.
You would
take him. Yeah, I would. At the beginning of last season, even now, I'd take him because he's got the experience and the leadership. And with OMONOIA right now, the club lacks leaders. And this is a conversation I had with Jordi Gomez. The club has lacked leadership since when even before Berg left. And with Jason Punchin playing for Crystal Palace, playing in FA Cup finals, knowing Cyprus. So it's not that Endelia Xenos, he's not someone that doesn't know the Paralimni, doesn't know how it works. Him being there, at least to be there to be an influence to the younger players who need to look up to him. Because I look at OMONOIA's midfield, for example, apart from Bashiru, I can't think of any central midfielder that the likes of Hambo or maybe Loiza can look up to and think, this guy has played at a higher bibid or a high level. You know, okay, you can say Mix, but Mix doesn't seem like a leader to me. You know, Gusul, all right, Gusul's had injury problems. I can't expect him to be the same Gusul, you know. But I look at the squad; they're all, you know. So Puncheon I will definitely take. Yes, Kiko, I love Kiko. I love Kiko, but he was unlucky because when he joined OMONOIA, Lesiaks was one of the best left back in the league. But now Lesiaks is downhill.
Yes, I tell you, Kiko give whatever he can when he plays. Even and Pancho, the team in the midfield, it was a little bit different than in PAFOS, but Larku didn't bring any of this one. Milan did bring. It was a choice of Ketspayan before he left, and Bralinze and Kiko and Panchon. He wanted, even Kespaya wanted him. Then Milan's bring him because he have it in PAFOS. So Larku,
yeah.
It's not even Kiko or Panchon. It's no one. It was his choice. So he bring 10 players with a big contract, right? I mean, I think Waris get up to 30,000 per month. 27,000.
Thassos loves Waris. Thassos loves Waris. Waris is Thassos, baby.
Ninga, 27,000. My God, and they score 1 goal, 3 goals.
Waris has one. That was this one. He scored.
Yeah, against DOXA. I couldn't believe it that he scored.
Listen, I spent however long we've been doing this podcast just Waris Egrisadon. And I was like, if Waris scores this season, I will get up and dance. And
yes,
yeah.
So he did it.
Unbelievable. I was shocked. Like
he lost chance in every possible way.
Yeah, I know. There's so many clips of me being like, what is he doing here? But yeah, it's but I mean the chance he took today, we'll look at the highlights, but the chance he took this match day is he took it very well as well. So maybe he needed to be out of the team. Maybe he needed to be, like obviously he's earning too much to be out of the team. But psychologically, maybe he needed that. Obviously, they just decided to do that too late.
No, what I believe is the players that they came. It's not that okay. It's not that they are all rubbish on anything, but the difference is when you are playing in a big team, it's about personality. You know, this time we played against Olympiakos. We didn't see any players they were hiding behind the players of Olympiakos. They didn't get the ball to help the game to build up. So it's a lack of personality. Now you don't have pressure. You play against DOXA. Every player, it's good. Let's see how you play with pressure. In a too much that ANORTHOSIS play with pressure, no one player maybe expect Artimatas that he was playing defender and he was trying to build up the game, that it's not his job to do that, but he's a player with, I think, a personality and leadership. But there's a lack of this in ANORTHOSIS, and this was clear in the match against Olympiakos with pressure. All the other games against OMONOIA, against PAFOS, against SALAMINA, in the championship against DOXA, every player was good. So what happened in the 2 match? I mean, before you win against PAFOS, even against SALAMINA, and now you win DOXA, and in the second half the team was very good, but 2 games with pressure, lack of leadership and personality.
Fila, when Larku got the job as sporting director or technical director, whichever role it was, I didn't think it was going to work with Ketspire because they're two big egos, two very big egos. And we know about Larku at OMONOIA. We know what happened there. We're not going to go into the personal things. And Ketspire is obviously Drellos. He's a crazy guy. We've seen him on the touchline. We've seen how he treated Gacharava, his godson. But when I saw ANORTHOSIS last season with Delatic on one side and Varda on the other, and then obviously you had problems up front because Lafferty wasn't scoring. Gacharava scored 1 or 2. You had Novotny coming January. But then you had some good players. I think, was it Popovic? Was Popovic there at the time?
Yes, but
Popovic.
Okay. He wasn't as good as he's supposed to be. But as you said, yes, in front it was Lazarus, have 8 assists, maybe 6 goals. Warta with 7 assists. Delatic, that's going great this season to Greece. There were some good players, and the last season the problem was the goal. But there were some bad choices that you can count it in your one hand. Than this season, you need more than 2 hands to count it.
Now, I know this is going to be a question that you've spoken about to your colleagues on the podcast, but we've discussed ANORTHOSIS problems off the field with Boulaidi and all the other stuff that's been happening. I know it would be a long answer for you to give if I asked you what is actually going on, but as I said, we've discussed it on numerous occasions. But can this problem be resolved at ANORTHOSIS? Do you think Sandis is going to make a big difference?
Okay, everything in football, as you know, it depends of the money. Let's say, I'll try to answer it as with not saying so much and talk for so many hours.
Oh, take your time. Honestly, we have time, Philet. I'm worried about you.
No, I will try to be as more specific to say it better. So if you have an organization, okay, that needs I think every year needs like $5 million or 6. You have to have a good team in Cyprus. You need, I think, 7 to 8 million. So if you put every year 1 million, less than 1 million, and the PAFOS come, OMONOIA go in Champions League, in Europa League, APOLLON goes to Europa League, I goes to Europa League, and they put more money to you, they go up, and you stay here. You don't go anywhere. You don't go down. You don't go up. But some organization, even football or in everything in life, you have some organization put money on it. Some organization just put money to stay there. They get a social media manager or a marketing. You keep a social media to give them $200. I don't want to give some more. So football change. Teams getting better. Teams put more money than you. Okay, you're a big team. You have fans. Most fans with OMONOIA and APOEL. They are follow you everywhere, but you have to make first a very good team, and you have to appendices some money to make some good team. And as we said about coaches, not change the people that you choose. I mean, you choose the guys that will decide about which players will come, the coaches or the technical director that you said that Tony Bisteves as no one. So if you make wrong choices for a period of 10 years, you have asked to yourself, maybe it's not all these choices, but maybe it's something else. I mean, you can't say it's all bad, they are not good, or I don't know about football. Okay, in your other jobs, you didn't know. I mean, it's okay to say it in the 1, 2 first year, but you can't say that everyone is bad in a period of 10 years and that you don't know for football. And the 2 times that ANORTHOSIS get to achieve something, it was without Poulaidis in the board. It was with Andreas Pandeli. Let's not saying anything else about him, but he made it with Levy with 2 millions, 3 millions budget. It was an amazing achievement with this budget, and with Kispaya. That was Hamboulas on the board. Even if I disagree with some of his saying, you can see that when Poulaidis was out of the board and he was back just as a Penditis or Mamamedojos, the team were going better. So we are saying again and again in the podcast that sometimes you have to ask yourself, maybe it's better to just give the money and don't design and let other people that know better than you. But sometimes it's even about ego, you know. I want me as Poulaidis or as Savvas put the money and have some other to get the DOXA and the, you know, it's more about ego sometimes. It's not only about seeing something, achieving something without you being there. I mean, if you see the last year when we won the cup, when a team won the cup, who kept the cup? The players and the captain. And you see Hamboulas and Poulaidis trying to keep the cup, to win the cup with the captain. I don't remember to see this again. It was a very funny thing. Leave the players to enjoy their time. Okay, you put the money, get the cup, get the picture. Not at the time that you give the cup and it's their moment. It's their moment. It's not yours. Even if you put the money, everyone have their moment.
Yeah.
So
I remember that season.
It seems to be the opposite of what we were talking about with ARIS last podcast. We were talking about the guy behind ARIS. He's put the money down, but he's very much in the background. He keeps quiet. He lets the football people do the football, and he just sits back and lets things happen. He just puts the money in.
And if they didn't do the job, call them and tell them why.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is the other?
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely the complete opposite of what he's doing there. So that makes sense, I think, with what we've been talking about with other clubs as well.
Yeah. Do you have another question about Munoz, by the way, Thassos? Because I know that was on your list.
Well, I mean, for me, Munoz was brought in. And then obviously Poulaidis came out again defending Munoz, saying that, you know, we brought Munoz in, we believe in Munoz. And then 2 weeks later, he was out the door. So it's like where the fans, kind of the decision, like, were the fans unhappy with the way Munoz was putting the team forward, or was it from fan pressure that Munoz ended up leaving, or was that just again another decision by Poulaidis?
Yes, I tell you, I liked Munoz as a coach, even as a person. I met him in the press conference, and I write about him that he leaves a good and deposits on the as the reporter. He came to say hi to every one of us, to ask us something. So, and I see people with ambition in his mind. He want to achieve things, but again, he came in a period for ANORTHOSIS in all sense, not only in the terms of team to make a team better, but I see that his gymnastics and his team, they were doing some good work, but the pre-preparation was so bad in every terms that they couldn't make so many things better in the terms of to have more andojes, to press more high that he won. So he wants some things in his tactics that he couldn't make it better because of the preparation, the what happens. And this brought injuries, and he didn't make it, I think, he plays only with Tejera, because a little some days after they sacked him, the other players that choose with Prieto was bring on, and they helped the team. But I think the choice wasn't so much because of the fans wanted. It was more because they wanted to try things to shock and show the fans that they were doing something. They sacked Milan's. Then they bring the coach that the technical or the football director, whatever you wanted, choose. And 1 week later, you sack football director. That he choose the coach and you Esteves. So after 2-3 weeks, some results don't come as you want, and everyone was on Pilakoutas, the fans. You have to leave at the end of the season. We don't want you anymore. Sacked another one. So this is the problem. So every 2-3 weeks, some other Lazarus, Huerta, everyone was a problem. Why? Because we have to find a problem. I don't know what's the English word. It's podonbieos tragos in Greek. Something to put the.
It's passing the buck, pointing the finger.
Yeah. So we have to find someone for what's ANORTHOSIS going on. And yes, because I learned, I heard about how he works, how ambitious he was as a coach. It was a pity that he didn't have the chance to work, but I believe that if he come in ANORTHOSIS to make the preparation and choose the players he wants, the things will be different. But unfortunately, how the things were in ANORTHOSIS and how's the lack of a coach, that it's the face that they are pointing their finger on. That's what happens with Munoz, rather than he wasn't a good coach or the fans wanted him to leave.
Yeah, well, I think that's what we were thinking when we discussed it. That's what we said anyway, wasn't it? We said it was a smokescreen. Obviously, like, kind of look over here. Don't look at this hand. Look at this one. So exactly. Yeah, it was what we talked about before as well.
More drama than camping. That show on Alpha. More drama than camping.
Oh, drama. But we can make a Netflix series about ANORTHOSIS. No, don't worry.
Because I mean, so there's obviously we mentioned Warda very, very briefly there. There's obviously there was a video that came out a few months back of him talking to the fans and kind of shouting at a fan saying that then he said ANORTHOSIS.
Yeah, I'm more ANORTHOSIS than you.
Yeah, and saying that PAFOS and ARIS have got more money, but I don't go to PAFOS or ARIS. And then a fan, γιατί επίσης και μίλησες του Απολλωναρέ? Why did you go speak to Apollona then? And Warta says, I didn't speak to Apollona. But then lo and behold, 6 weeks later,
oh God,
signed the piece of paper.
Division.
It was the thing with Warta. It was another wrong in the how they heuristican from the beginning, from the summer. Not this time. From the summer, because he wasn't finding any team with the money he wanted. He went to the teams and with his manager and was trying to find a team, but at the same time he post stories. The fans was put pressure on the board. Get him. He was one of our best players. But okay, the board, they don't work with stories and what they're saying, but with what the contract saying. So they make him a proposal, but he wasn't happy with it. So he was trying to with the fans to put pressure, and that was another one drama for 1.5 months, and maybe a lot. If Warta is going to sign in ANORTHOSIS or not. Imagine a whole team to discuss about one player. At the end of the day, if this player sign and don't score 10 goals, that he didn't even score, I think, 2-3 goals, what will happen? And that's what happened. To be honest, it's a good mathema for the fans that it's a very little player that care about the shirt and the emblem, and the one thing that matters the most is what the contract is writing on it.
He doesn't care about other things as well, like going to nightclubs and getting up to mischief. But I'm not going to go into that. If I speak, I'll be in big trouble.
Yeah.
As Mourinho said.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to the game?
Obviously, yeah. We're going a bit long. I do have one more question though. So kind of like looking to the future. So Sandis came out last week after a meeting with Boulaidis and said that the club needs to find 4.5 million euros to finish the season.
Yes.
So I think we discussed it here. We think that it's Boulaidis basically holding the club to ransom to try and take back some of the money that he'd invested in the club. But obviously, again, we're sat outside. We don't really see what's going on around there. Kind of financially, is the club safe? Is there something that worries you with regards to how the club goes forward, or is it just kind of negotiations and they're just doing the negotiations out loud for people to see?
To be honest, this time I have a lot of questions too about what's going to happen. I speak to Erkida have an interview with Sandis, and I asked him about it, what they will do if Boulaidis don't put the money that he was heading to put when he write that I will leave and I will arrange all the things that I have to pay. But the last days we heard that it's not going to pay. It's going to pay the 1/4 of this that I have to pay. So I asked him, what are you going to do? And I think maybe without knowing, I'm making προσπαθώ να πω να βήμα μπροστά, that he said it because he want to put some pressure to Boulaidis, to the negotiations, that they will have another meeting on Saturday. But I asked him too, okay, and what happens if he don't have this money? He told me that we have the ways that he didn't mention me which ways it's this, to try to find this money, but I'm Orthodoxos that we'll find the solution at first with Boulaidis, and we will find the. So maybe there are some things that I didn't even know. Even I speak with them what happens in the backstage behind the curtains. So I tell him that the only thing I know is that you have to find a solution until the end of the match because everything is running, even the transfer market. Prieto went to Spain to find players, and I told him, how did he go to Spain? By the time that there's no solution in the board thing, he told me, I'm Orthodoxos, we'll find a solution, and Prieto have to run to find the players. He won what players we won. So another move that maybe put pressure, because to tell the football director what to look for, in which places, with the next year programmatismo, it say a lot of things. Maybe we will see. it will be an interesting month for ANORTHOSIS for another one time, but it's good question that we are wait from Sandis and Pilakoutas to answer in the next weeks until the end of the match. We suppose we are going to have even the economic part, or even in to change the δικτυωσιακό καθεστώς ιδιοκτησίας that we are speaking about Pilakoutas leave and sell his μετοχές, that the thing we don't know how much he will sell them and to which he will sell them. It's another one thing we have to answer.
Watch this space. Watch this space. Stay tuned, boys and girls.
Yeah, the drama never ends.
Yeah, you know, every time it's amazing with the reportage of ANORTHOSIS. I'm not getting even bored. Never. Even if ANORTHOSIS doesn't have to win anything in this year, they find things so we can speak about.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so let's move on to ANORTHOSIS against DOXA at the weekend. ANORTHOSIS winning by 3-1. They went a goal behind. Anand scored the goal after 9 minutes. I don't know what was happening there, but obviously this has been happening to ANORTHOSIS all season defensively. And Loria left stranded. I don't know, again, the striker getting behind the two centre-backs is disgusting. Loria come running out. Again,
Loria, man.
Fucking head loss, as they say. But it all changed in the second half. Tejera scored a penalty, which was retaken thanks to encroachment by not only DOXA players, but ANORTHOSIS players was retaken. ARIS made it 2-1, which is, as we said, is Thassos' favourite player at the moment. And Helder Ferreira made it 3 with 3 minutes until the end of the game. Incidentally, there was a red card. Abdullahi of DOXA was sent off for a challenge in the box. And yeah, Savva, I guess you're happy with the victory, although Group B filler, I mean, I know how you feel because I had it last season with OMONOIA. It's not particularly great, especially when you don't have anything else to play for, like the Gibber or like we did.
Yes. I don't know about the match. Okay, you don't have so many things to say. DOXA was very good at the first half, very bad defensively there in their goal, and in every way. How the pass by, how Loria, I don't know what he was trying to think there with two defenders run against the player of DOXA. Okay, second half the team were better. DOXA considered the red card, and at the end of the day, one win without something to be happy about it. But fans, what they want for their team, it's just to win as more match as they can. I don't know about how easy it's for the players or the coach to find Kinitro for these matches. I was trying to ask some players or athletes that how you find the Kinitro to play in this match. And whatever they are saying, I play for the fans, I play for the history. It's hard. It's very difficult when you are a big team that always try to win things to play under these circumstances. I mean, it's you're just playing to play, nothing else. And it's difficult for everyone, but they have to do it. They pay a lot of more than us, and they have to play these games until the end of the championship and win as more as they can, and maybe some Cypriot players to see them playing to win them for the next year, because most of the other guys, I think they will be Parathon from the team, maybe 5, 7, 8. I don't know how many players we are going to leave in December.
Savva, what do you think Vesco said at half time to the players? Because first half it was all DOXA, and obviously second half it took the red card for ANORTHOSIS to get back into the game, but they seemed more aggressive on the ball, better, quicker. Do you think the team talk was like, Ade, we've got nothing to lose here, just go for it?
Yeah, maybe he taught us about that. Why so many pressure on your feet? I mean, okay, whatever happened will happen. He makes some change too. I mean, he put Christophe. He makes some changes in the start of the second half, I think. So they help too. And DOXA, maybe they were tired because they couldn't continue to play as they play in the first half. So with the changes, with DOXA couldn't play in the same steady rhythm, all this help ANORTHOSIS to win the game. And I think they know that they have to win in your home against DOXA, your ANORTHOSIS. There's no other result. And maybe now Vesco, the good thing is he knows which players they can play this kind of games, even without interest. They can give something to the team. Even Ferreira, even Waris. Maybe Waris he want to play because you want to get a transfer to another team the other year. If he score now 5 goals, you never know what will happen. I mean, everyone maybe he will have some other things. Some want to play because he loves to play. Some he wants because he wants to see his better get better. Someone maybe they have bonus on their contract if you score a goal, if you don't concede a goal. So all these things in this kind of games, in this kind of situation that ANORTHOSIS is, are playing their roles.
So I mean, Vesco, he was put in temporary charge. I don't think he's been made permanent yet, has he? He's not been made the permanent coach yet, has he?
Yes. So I lost you, so I didn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. So Vesco Mihajlovic at the moment, so he was brought in temporarily.
Yes.
Has he been made permanent yet? Because I think he's lasted longer than both the other managers before him now. So is he a permanent coach now, or is he still only temporary at the moment?
Yes, in ANORTHOSIS they answer the question in the same way that make me think that it's a temporary solution without having information about that. I have this embarrassment from how they answer the question. I mean, they are answering, are you going to continue the next years with Vesco as a coach? Okay, this time we have Vesco, and the next year we will see what happens. So, this kind of answer, because I was in this place as a press officer, make me think that this is a temporary solution because, okay, who are you going to bring in this kind of time? You have Vesco, that is a technical director in academies and now coach. I think he doesn't get as money as any coach will come now and he will ask. And we go with Vesco until the end of the year. And then we find the coach that will build the new ANORTHOSIS.
I think I know why they're doing this, because if they make Vesco permanent manager and they decide to bring someone else, they need to pay him out the rest of his contract because he's still contracted as a youth coach. Isn't he under 16 or under 17 coach?
It's the technical director of the whole academy.
Okay.
Yes.
So kind of like when Salgado took the Buffalo job for a bit, it was a temporary job, but he's still part of the club because he's contracted to that job title. If they change the job title, then they change his pay, they change his contractual obligations. And then if they do decide to bring in a new manager, he can get his old job back, but they need to go through the legalities and so I understand why they're doing it, which is why I think they're keeping him here, because maybe they thought, okay, we stick with Vesco and hopefully he can make top 6. If he doesn't, maybe we can have a cup run. If he doesn't, then at least he can stabilize the squad. But I just think it's time they need to look for another coach. Obviously, get him ready for the summer. I don't know what the plans are. I don't think anyone knows, to be honest.
I don't think so. Even that they decide, but ANORTHOSIS halftime. But as I am saying a lot of times, time is good when you know how to acknowledge this with the right way, not just to know that you have time. Because
yeah, of course. But we're in March now, April, May, June, July, August. So 5 months to try and fix as much as they can. There is time. There is time.
It's not like any player will come in the next 2 months knowing that the preparation will start in July to do what?
Yeah. You're right. Anyway, let's move on to another game. Which one shall we go with? Let's go with the derby. Oh, for crying out loud. Every time. OMONOIA against APOEL'S. Thassos, listen, I don't want to talk too much about this game myself because obviously I've done a podcast on this. The only thing I'm glad is that we didn't lose this game because our record against them is fucking shambolic. But there was a lot that happened in this game. We had Crespo scoring for APOEL'S. We had Gaguli having a goal disallowed, rightly so, in my opinion. I think it was a good decision from the referee. There was the handball decision, which, again, I'm still not sure if it was a penalty, if it was not a penalty. We had APOEL'S having a goal disallowed, which I don't know whether that was offside or whether it wasn't offside or a foul on Panayotou. I don't know. And then, obviously, Loisa's offside, which was 5 miles offside, and Pana scoring the goal with 4 minutes ago, thanks to an assist from Fodi Babuli. I'm going to leave this one to you and Savvas, Thassos. I'll let you two discuss this because I'm tired of talking about this game, man. Honestly, it's just like, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah. I mean, listen, these games are always a bit hectic, aren't they? There's always something going on to discuss. There's this is a push. He has a couple of bites of the cherry there. What I'm worried about on APOEL'S side. So there's Crespo scoring the corner.
Zaho was complaining for a foul though. Did you see that?
I think he was complaining for handball.
It looks like I think he was saying that he was being pulled.
Yeah, maybe something like this.
Okay, I thought maybe he was saying that Crespo had handballed it, but he balled it. He scored. He scored with
his back was turned, so he didn't see that. But I think he was complaining about being pulled. But anyway, carry on. My bad.
No, the kind of so here, right? Are OMONOIA fans not happy with Uzoho or something? Because there's all those plastic cups.
They threw it. They threw it at Kvalitaya, man.
Oh right, okay, all right. Just making sure.
No.
But yeah, kind of on this here. I've looked at it like 3 or 4 times. It's really hard to kind of decipher whether or not it's handball. It's right on kind of on the border, isn't it? The Crespo handball, and whether or not it is one. I've seen them given. I've seen them not given. Interesting one. This here, I think it was given for offside. But when you see the lines, when the lines come up, it's one of those annoying ones where you only see one line because both the lines are on top of each other. And if that's the case, it's a goal, lads. It's a goal. If the offside, if you only see one line when you draw the lines for VAR, if you only see one line, it's offside.
Thassos, do you think they're going to release a referee's report on the game? Because I get the feeling they didn't give it for offside. I get the feeling they gave it for a foul on Pana. Well, I get the feeling.
If it's a foul,
even though it wasn't, by the way, it wasn't a foul. It wasn't.
No,
it wasn't a foul.
But if it is a foul on Panayotou, that's fine. But why draw the lines in that case? That's my question there.
Listen, I can't answer this question. Mazic can't answer this fucking question. How am I supposed to answer it?
Listen, whatever. It's one of my pet peeves this season is the goddamn lines. But yeah, the one thing that I think should make every APOEL'S fan nervous is the way Belic has been playing all season. And he has a mistake in him every game. And most games
one,
has been
the slip.
He
slipped, man. Look at that.
Stay on your line, go meet the ball. He's kind of umming and ahhing, and that lack of confidence has made him slip. And he's got him in it. Every game, he's got something like that in him. And sometimes there's a goal, and sometimes there isn't. The reason APOEL have the lowest kind of the best defense is because of their defense. Belic is, I think, very suspect, especially compared to other goalkeepers APOEL have had in previous seasons. I think Belic is it doesn't instill confidence in that team. And I mean, you can see it with the goal. Why bother drawing the line for this one? But anyway. Are
you just angry that they're using claret and blue lines? You're an Aston Villa fan, is that
no,
why?
Listen, claret and blue, it's great. It's great. Show me more claret and blue. What I want to see, though, is if there's claret and blue lines, I want to be able to see a claret line and a blue line. I don't want to see none of this, oh, there's only a blue line, or there's a claret line sat on top of the blue line, or just get rid of that. Get rid of that. If the lines are on top of each other, it's a goal. You go with the on-field decision. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. No confusions. You had the OMONOIA social media team being like because this FANTAROS, who's Cyprus, I think he's in the Cyprus FA.
He's the assistant general secretary. Yeah.
So he was talking about Triches. He was talking about Triches. You should be allowing goals if it's para Trija. And then the OMONOIA social media team responded to him. So he posted it on Facebook. They responded on Twitter saying, "Stis poses Triches ta deheste ya offside kirie Fandare." Well, listen. Yeah, there it is. That's the one. So, I mean, the response for me is, if they're my Triches, then it should be a goal.
On your head, yeah.
Hold on. Put us back on the screen. Right. If the Triches are like this, right, it should be a goal. And I think that's what they do in Premier League, in Serie A. If it's that close, they give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. Although what I will say before obviously Savvas jumps in, because Savvas needs to say his piece on this game, because I'm interested to hear what he's got to say. Should the assistant general secretary of the Cypriot FA be making such public statements, especially on his Facebook page? Now, if you've got a beef with the referees, because as I said on my podcast yesterday, he's done it a lot. Not just for OMONOIA games, he's done it for SALAMINA against AL, he's done it for PAFOS, he's spoken about FIFA, he's spoken about UEFA. He did it when Cyprus played Malta, talking about referees. So what example is this guy setting? And as I said before, the Cypriot FA and the referees union, they work together. So with him doing this, he's taking a massive shit on his colleagues, his peers. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good having a private social media account where you air your grievances in this way. So normally your Facebook account, you set your privacy settings, and that way, your friend
you don't even do that. You don't even put it on Facebook. You don't do anything at all.
Even with
someone can screenshot it.
But it doesn't matter, because it's a private thing. Whereas this, he's got it open for everybody to see. Like, after this came out, I went and put his name in on Facebook, and I could see everything. I could see all his pictures, all the posts, all the comments, all these likes.
It's not like his opinion about a personal thing. I mean, it's not like he's speaking about racism that, okay, you can tweet about this. He's talking about a thing in a place that he's now. Even if he's in private or public, for me, it doesn't matter. You are in a place that, I mean, I was as a press officer. I couldn't say my personal opinion politely.
Okay. No, I understand.
I'm working. Well. I mean, I'm working there, and whatever I would say, it's like it's the opinion of the whole CFA. I mean,
yep.
No, I get that as well.
So what CFA, and it's the Nea Salamina that he's εκπροσωπεί, and he's writing about well, if you write about Nea Salamina, even that, but okay, you are there because of Salamina, but you are in the board too, and you're writing about a team and about an offside.
Yep.
Let's what they're saying. I don't know in English. You doesn't have to be. Δεν φτάνει να είσαι να είναι μόνο η γυναίκα του Κέσσαρα πιστή, να φαίνεται, αλλά να είναι κιόλας.
Yeah, how do you translate that then, Stel? It's basically, you have to keep up appearances. You have to be holier than thou if you're involved in certain things. So, for instance, because he's part of the Cypriot FA, like
it's integrity there. It's integrity.
It's an integrity issue. Yeah.
And to be honest, if this was again, if you know, I know it's Cyprus, and we use the term "this is Cyprus," but if this happened in England or in other countries in Europe, there'll be gross misconduct. You're sacked on the spot. They'll sack you. You lose your job because you can't undermine your colleagues and undermine your reputation. Okay, I know the Cypriot Football FA's reputation is in the toilet anyway, but you're destroying a reputation that is already in the mud. You know, they're trying to repair it in certain ways. I get it. But for someone that's the assistant general secretary, if the general secretary dies, this guy comes in. This is just how it is. That's how it is. And for him to say these things, okay, even if it wasn't OMONOIA, if it was APOEL'S, if it was ANORTHOSIS, if it was, I don't know, ARIS, you can't say these things there. He had to go at Henningberg. He had to go at Buffer about the Russian money. This guy is he's a lunatic. And it's a liability as well there. How can you trust someone like that? There's no confidentiality there. And this is what I keep saying. You can't maintain professional standards when you've got someone at such a high level. It's not as if he's a cleaner. No disrespect to cleaners, but I'm saying it's not as if someone that goes into the grafia and cleans the trapezia or whatever, and he finds some documents and leaks it, and that's it. But this guy is a high-standing person that's supposed to have some kind, as I said, integrity. But he can't. Anyway, whatever. That's been dealt with. It's been dealt with.
But I completely agree with that. It's just this is Cyprus.
Yeah.
This is what it is. It's true. I mean, these things only happen maybe in Greece and Cyprus. A person that's in a position like this to just saying his personal opinion, and even how he's saying his personal opinion. And I mean, it's one thing that he's saying things about offside or anything, in which place, and another thing, the way, and then you understand why the Cyprus Federation doesn't work anything right. It's the alazonia that I will write what I want, I will tell it to you, I will use irony, and no one will touch me. This is the worst for me.
Yeah. Anyway, Savvas, talk to me about this game then. First of all, was the Crespo handball a penalty, and was APOEL'S goal a legitimate goal?
Look, very, very difficult decision, to be honest, for the referee for the hand, because I'm a little bit confused what is a handball and what is not. I see many things even in Premier League to give penalty, not give penalty, they don't give penalty. The way he make his hand back of his back, he seems like he's trying to αποφύγει the man, but the ball touched his hand. So it's in the referee decision to decide if he's handball or not. I think if he give it, I would say, okay, it's not draw. Even now, I couldn't say that he sees something so ξεκάθαρο and he didn't give it. So it's a difficult decision, to be honest. Okay, the goal of APOEL, even if you are a little Driha or a small or a big one, with the way they decide in VR, you are still offside. I mean, I see again many goals, even in Champions League, even in Premier League. The last cm of their shoes and their knee, you draw the line and you see that it's a 2 cm in front, and they decide that it's not a goal. So
I think the issue that I have is not necessarily the technology or the interpretation. Well, not the base technology or the interpretation, but kind of like how it's presented. So the cameras that we have in Cypriot stadiums are not to a suitable standard to be able to deliver the information.
Yes, they're not
needed.
Enough. They discussion have with some presidents that even with goal line technology, even with cameras, the cost is high. So some stadium, they can't have as many cameras or as quality cameras. I don't know exactly.
It's a quality thing, because there's some decisions that are made and they draw the lines, and then you see the quality of the image that they've drawn the lines on, and you can see
it's not 4K. It's not 4K.
no, but you know, it's the technology's there. Just the output for the technology isn't there. That's what the issue is. The output isn't good enough, and again, yeah, like you said, there's a big cost. So, for instance, your DOXA or your Paralimni will have a lot more difficulty paying that cost, because they don't have the same income as your APOEL, your OMONOIA, your ANORTHOSIS, or the same investment as PAFOS or ARIS.
And we come in a way that in this kind of thing, they should go together, but in what period of the history of Cyprus some teams go together to go now and decide that you have to go together, put some money, because I'm PAFOS, and as I invest more on the team, I want to invest more in the footballing I am playing than NOC that I know that. And we are going to have this cost some kind, but this, it will mean that someone will work with someone else, and I don't know how is this these things to work in Cyprus.
Too many people need to agree for it to work.
Yes.
Dolibon. Let's move on to the next one. I think we're nearly done. I think, how many games have we got left? We've got 2 games left. All right. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. Let's go. Right. ARIS and Buffer, the new derby, ended in a 2-2 draw, didn't it? Was it 2-2 or was it 1-1? I can't remember.
Yeah, 2-2, I think.
It was 2-2, wasn't it? It was 2-2. Yeah. I'm not losing my mind. I promise. I'm not getting old. I am getting old, actually. Oh, blimey. Do you know what? Thasso, this game, it's always an entertaining game between these two teams. We know that both teams went for it. We know both teams have got something to prove, something to say, especially when it comes to the title charge. Both of them are clearly in with a shout. A lot happened there. Gogorin scored a penalty. Valakari then equalised. Bengtsson then made it 2-1. And once again, PAFOS somehow got back into this and got an equaliser. But again, Thassos, as we keep saying, whenever PAFOS go a goal behind, they've never gone on to win a game under Henningberg in the league. Unbelievable statistic.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it plays on them as well. I think as soon as they go down a goal, so you can see kind of the endeavour from the players, kind of, but it gets to that final third, something happens. So, for instance, because they've been conceding these goals kind of to start off with, you've got players like Gyro seem to be making some weird decisions when they get into the final third. So, Gyro especially is obviously not been firing on all cylinders, at least on the goal scoring end of things. And a couple of other players' forms has dropped off as well. So Gane, so the player who conceded the penalty against Corcoran, he's not been having the best few games either. Bruno is, what's he done since he's joined? He's not done much at all. So yeah, the kind of I don't know. It seems like the pressure's got to these players slightly, which means that they're not getting the results that they should be getting, and people know that kinds of results that they can get, which is probably frustrating. Obviously, the fans. And as well, kind of the higher ups. So there's been discussions, obviously, a couple of weeks back regarding the security of Henningberg's job. The press officer had to come out a couple of times and say, "There's no, he's all right. There's been no discussions about Henningberg's job security." I mean, there's been no discussions on his job security, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's safe. But yeah, there's a few players as well that have kind of, again, been out of the team, not really gelling as well. So players like Valakari, obviously Valakari came back into the first team in this game, and he basically saved Bafo the points twice. But yeah, on the other side, Aris performing very, very well. Again, kind of. Their attacking verve, very, very, they're very, very nice to watch. Again, they need a lot of chances to score before they score. And Van Alves has obviously been getting a lot of plaudits because of his performances. This game, he made some really weird decisions, like as if his eccentricity was turned up to 20 on Football Manager. There was some really weird situations he managed to get himself into. And again, the Bafos player is not really taking advantage of that. So, it's a very strange game. Again, very good game to watch. Very attacking game. Both teams had a lot to say for themselves, a lot of chances. But at the same time, there's a lot of strange things going on in the game. A lot of weird decisions, a lot of different situations and chances that occurred that you wouldn't necessarily see in either of those teams. So, for instance, there was a lot of defensive errors on Bafos' side, a lot of goalkeeping issues from Van Alves. There's a lot going on. I don't know if anybody else wants to chuck in, kind of come in with their opinions as well. But yeah, very interesting game to watch.
Sava, I don't know who will be happier with the point. Do you think Aris will be happier, or do you think Buffo will be happier with the points?
I think APOEL will be happy with the...
Good answer. Very good answer.
To be honest, I didn't watch the highlights. That's why I watch with interest. I didn't find the time to see the highlights of this game. And it's true that every time these teams play together, it's like, I mean, if you don't say me expect of the stadium that you can understand in, they don't look like it's Cypriot teams. The way they are playing, the attacking, I mean, I see some good saves, some good shots, some 1-2, some nice. I mean, it's like it was more than 90 minutes. The game, even the highlights with the Tahida that they are playing, it's amazing. It's good for the championship, and it's two teams that when they are playing together, even if I didn't do it this time, I would love to watch. I mean, with their style of playing, what they are trying to do. Okay, I think it was a more Poetevmenos or ARIS, not because PAFOS didn't want the win, but because PAFOS the last 4 or 5 games they didn't manage to win anything. So you have ARIS that come from behind and they have possibilities to win the championship. They start to believing in. They're saying, okay, we are not so far. APOEL draw against OMONOIA. I lose, but I think they didn't know it. And anyway, so it's a good chance to win the game because we're winning game. We have a winning streak, and we have to win. And they give everything, but they have against them a very good team. As PAFOS, it's a pity that they start very good the championship. They make some very good games against APOEL, against STAEK, I can imagine. I watched them playing against the big teams, and in some games they were much better than them. But in the end, they don't seem to me not just to win the championship, but maybe they have chance to stay out of Europe. Apollon win. They couldn't win ARIS, that's in the 3rd place. So again, it seems like PAFOS, even if they start well, even if they buy some very good players, in the end of the day, they could end up in the 5th place and don't know what they have to change. I mean, they have very good, and you can see in the other hand, ARIS, that it's the same logic with PAFOS that last year went to Europe. They win in a very important match, ANORTHOSIS last game, in their home, 3-0. And now you see ARIS that they're in the 3rd place, they're fighting for the championship. So you can see two teams with the same loyalty to have different results. So it's the thing they have to see in PAFOS. Maybe they follow what ARIS do, what they did better than them.
I feel like at the beginning of the season, we were talking about Buffer, and we said, if they continue with Antosh in goal, they will have problems because I don't think he's a reliable goalkeeper. Obviously, Ivusic has come in. Okay, he's done well, but I think Vida and Bajric, they're not the greatest central defending partnership. I don't know what's happening with Hotsko. I know he's on the bench. But it seems they still need changing in defense. In midfield, they're brilliant. Gane, Name, Tankovic, Valakari's now scoring goals. Obviously, Zaros has, 18 league goals this season. So scoring goals isn't the problem, but they're conceding silly goals. They concede cheap penalties. I think the mentality needs to change from that respect. And that's surprising for me because Henning Berg is a very defensive coach. And as a former defender himself, for him to see all these goals being conceded, especially, as I said, cheap goals, he must get really, really angry, no?
Yeah. I mean, that first penalty, for instance, Gane, I'm not sure what he was doing there. Like he just broke Gogorin down. There's not really much of an excuse there for what he was trying to do. So I don't know. I think there's been it was only a small change in the people in the team. So all they did was brought in Bruno and they only brought in 2 players, which was Bruno and the Croatian goalkeeper.
Ivusic.
But they lost Semedo.
But Semedo, and I think, and I keep looking back on that because Semedo, whilst he wasn't great at finishing, he was very, very good at lining things up for Gyro. And since Semedo's gone, Gyro's goals have dried up. And you see him in this game, for instance, in a lot of the highlights, Gyro's a lot further back than what he would normally be, because he's just not getting the service that he was used to when Semedo was in the team.
Yes, I agree that Semedo didn't seem as a player that if he leaves and come Bruno, it will be a problem. I mean, you see Semedo, his career, and you say, okay, it's not going to be a problem. And we bring Bruno, that we see what he did in OMONOIA, we see his quality, but maybe his characteristic as a player, Semedo, the way Berg was playing, Semedo was better to help the build-up of the team or making more antipithesis and score goals than it's Bruno, that it's more of technique style than quick player as Semedo was. And this is what I love for football. I mean, you bring a player that it's more talented, they score more easy goals, but doesn't matter that, or the Simeone, the better player will suit better than the other player, even if he's an individual, is much better Bruno than Semedo. But it seems even Bruno like he tempers are most again in PAFOS.
He's not used to the team yet. Yeah.
Something I want to quickly talk about. First of all, ARIS, they took 500 fans to Buffalo, which I think is fantastic for a club that is still developing, that has achieved so much in such a short space of time. Obviously, people are going to talk about winning trophies. That's the most important thing. But I think as a club that's in development, that started from scratch effectively, and for them to have 500 fans going to Buffalo, I think it's an incredible achievement for them. And I'm sure their fan bases are going to continue growing. But incidentally, on Saturday, last Saturday, I think they planted over 124 pine trees in Ayos Dihona. I believe that's the place, which, again, they're doing their bit for the environment, which is always nice to see. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, a lot of other clubs do something similar. But, at the end of the day, it's great that you're seeing the players getting involved. There you go. I mean, that's great. That's absolutely great. What's the word there? Tapizun, yeah?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very pleased with them. There's actually a photo I want to bring up. It's got a time about. Let me just bring it up. Where is it? It's one with the away fans, right? Obviously, there's kids there, and I don't like putting up photographs of kids, but obviously, ARIS have given us permission to put this photograph up. Savva, as a fan of a club with thousands of supporters in Cyprus, how important is it for the next generation to, follow a club in Cyprus, whether it be a local club, whether it be a club from another side of the island? I mean, it's very, very important for me anyway, that the younger generation pick a club and support them in Cyprus, because the game is still growing, it's still developing. And with the money coming into the island, be it foreign investment, be it other means of investment, I think it's very, very important that we do have more younger fans going to games. Yes.
To be honest, ARIS and PAFOS, they are two teams that brings new things in Cyprus football, in all things, in social media, marketing, the way they are treat the reporters, the way they have their fun, the atmosphere they are trying to make. And I love this because we have a talk in Instagram too, and I think the younger fan, the younger generation, they expect their history of their team. They need some things in social media, in marketing, that they will keep them near of their team. Some of the biggest teams in our island, APOEL, OMONOIA, ANORTHOSIS, they have lack of this thing. I'm amazed with the ideas that ARIS have in PAFOS, in the media day, the day after match, the day before the match, the giveaways they are giving, the present they are giving to their fans. It's about people, to bring some other people in some department, but it's about ideas too. And I don't think that they have lack of ideas in ANORTHOSIS APOEL, some of their fans or some of their people. Maybe it's because of their board. Because if you have the department, you tell them, okay, I give you 50,000, and I want you to make a video, to find a way to bring the fans near to the club, 2-3 targets. You can actually achieve it and bring even more fans inside the club, and that's what they're doing. The big clubs in all of the world. Even to give you an example, now they're trying to take the World Cup to Saudi Arabia, right? They are doing a Formula One in Saudi Arabia. They buy Cristiano Ronaldo.
Boxing.
The team, they were trying
Wrestling.
to get Messi. They do a program in AIBS, the sports reporter, a young sports reporter, where every country, the AIBS will, they pay for their exoda to get in Saudi Arabia and make reportages about how's the football. So it's all marketing in the end of the day. And you have a lack of this. And because I'm in the area of marketing in some way, I love what PAFOS and ARIS doing. I'm saying to them every time, because it's not like they bring 10 Russian and they are guys from Cyprus. So I'm saying this not because of their country that they are, because some guys from the board of Cyprus, they will tell you, yeah, but where will find people to do that? If you want really to do things, you will find the people too. So this is Savvas αντίκτυπο ένα αποτέλεσμα. ARIS and PAFOS gain younger fans because they are getting the fans go there and he get a shirt, he get the ROCCA'S school, he can go to a training session, he can take picture with the players. This is what the young kids love.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think it's very intelligent how they're doing this, because what they are effectively doing, they are aiming their product at a younger demographic, because they know the younger demographic may not have the disposable income, but their parents do. And it's just like at Christmas when you see the toy adverts on the television, you know, but mama, papa, I want this helodo. Hey, when the kids see ARIS, the tabeles, the billboards on the highway, or they go on YouTube and there's an advert and it's ARIS, you know, they know what they're doing, and it's very intelligent, and they're doing what the other clubs aren't doing. I don't see APOEL'S doing it. I don't see OMONOIA do it. You know, I go to Limassol, I see ARIS tabeles everywhere, ARIS posters on the buses. I go to Lefkosia, I might see an APOEL'S poster. I might see something with OMONOIA, but there's no, then it's like, oh, they take it for granted. We are the clubs in Lefkosia. We have the fan base. They will always keep coming. But what they don't realize is that ARIS are going to be stronger. They're going to be better eventually. The resources that they're going to bring to Limassol. I mean, look at Buffer. They've got a state-of-the-art training facility. Yeah, ARIS are going to do the same. And then you got OMONOIA with Ilias Bullos, which is a kadastasi. You know, there's no hot water, nothing.
And they don't own it.
They don't own it. ARIS spent €500,000 on a team coach to take the players with Wi-Fi, with everything. This is elite mentality football. and they're planning for the future. If they get into the Europa League, the Conference League, they build on it. They're bringing more money. They're bringing better players. We saw Gagorin. We've seen Stepinski. We've seen Borison come in. Vanna Alves. These are top players. But the better they get, the more players that will come in. And then you see APOEL'S and OMONOIA going all the way down. And then ARIS comes. So it's a revolution.
The other thing that PAFOS and ARIS have got going for them as well is the atmosphere in the stadium. So younger people can go to the stadium without having how to put this democratically, without there being any issues, let's say. So if you, for instance, if you go to the RACB for
without
a big game,
them being worried about
without them being worried about anything. So, for instance, if you go to the RACB for a derby, or if you go to the Andonis Papadopoulos for a derby, whether it's OMONIA away fans, or APOEL'S away fans, or ANORTHOSIS away fans, or whatever it is, there's a certain atmosphere, which, again, it's a great atmosphere up to a point. So there's a reason why in the Liga all these clubs are getting fines, because there is a certain build-up over what would be allowed for, a good atmosphere. Whereas, your PAFOS and your ARIS aren't necessarily having those issues that the other more traditionally big clubs are having at the moment. And I think that plays into it.
Yes. I think there are coming some interested years in the changing of history in Cyprus football. And I would love to, after some 2-3 years, to come again and discuss about the changes that will be. I think in 2-3 years, we will see these changes that now it's what we are saying. That's the process. Now is the process. Now is the process that things happen, but no one sees.
100%. 100%. I agree. Right, we have one more game. We've gone nearly 2 hours. Savamo, I know it's very late for you, Filet. And thank you for taking this time. We're not going to spend too much long on the show because obviously you need to go to sleep. I don't want to keep you awake.
No worries. I enjoy the time. If I was being tired, I would tell you, don't worry.
Thank you. So we've got one more game to discuss.
Yeah.
Another game with a lot happening. It's only 4.5 minutes long, this video, so it's not as long as the last ones. But APOLLON beats AEK 1-0. But AEK were down to 10 men after 8 minutes, with Ledes getting sent off with a very reckless tackle. Clear red as far as I'm concerned. But then the match ended with AEK having Tomovic sent off and Hendy sent off for what looked like a judo. What was it? Judo or UFC? I don't know what it was, but but yeah, 1-0 win for APOLLON. Not good for AEK, who is slowly sliding down the table. Savamo, talk to me about this one. This is a red card, isn't it? 100%.
Yeah, I suppose with he goes straight. I mean, for foul, and I don't know how it's in English, but υπάρχει υποψία τραυματισμού. So it's a red injury, because he's not like he's going to play the ball. I mean, the ball
intentional. That's
intentional. Yep. It's intentional to the player. So and could bring some injury. So intentional, and with the way it comes to bring some injury, for me it's straight card, red card.
Thassos, this game was an interesting one for me because it just seemed that AEK did try their best, but they look very tired after 1 hour. And I understand you're playing football with 10 men from the 8th minute. It's very difficult. They did have their chances, but do you think APOLLON will be disappointed that they didn't score more than one? Because in the second half, they caught them on a counter-attack about 3 or 4 times, and the final ball was dreadful.
Yeah, there was a couple of strange decisions coming in the final third. I think there's one point where Bittas is running down the wing and he tries to get the ball into Warda, where really you want those roles to be the other way around, where you've got what you should be having Warda running down the wing and Bittas trying to get onto the ball. But yeah, there's a few things like that. I think the way Andone has the team playing, has APOLLON playing kind of in transition. I think I spoke about it last week. They've got this kind of strange formation where Bittas kind of sits behind, and then the wingers are the two players furthest forward. There was a situation here with VAR. I think it's going to briefly come up on the highlights package here, where there's a situation that occurs, and that would have been VAR. That would have been VAR getting a second yellow there. Now, personally, I think that's a second yellow, but the referee decided not to give it in at that point, which I thought was a strange decision. But yeah, there's a few things that kind of went on in this game that kind of.
Were you happy with those lines, by the way?
No. No. I mean, you could see Yakulis was offside anyway, so there wasn't a need for those lines to be there. But no. But yeah, there's a few things that happened in this game that not necessarily on this highlights package. So there's some point in like the 60th or the 70th minute, something kind of happens on the benches of the team, and somebody on Ajax bench gets sent off. The person who does that gets there, pick up a medical kit and kind of throw it to the ground as they march off from off the bench, and then kind of at the end of this, you've got a little bit of an MMA fight going on while the Ajax attack continues, and it kind of all devolved into a mess.
Tomovic was angry though. When I saw the challenge, I thought, well, okay, there's no reason to get so angry. I mean, that wasn't really bad. It didn't.
I mean, he
slipped more than anything. But the way he reacted, I'm like, hey, calm down, man. What is this?
I think it's not the foul. It's about more about the result than the foul.
Will always love you. It looks like they get, it looks like they're about to.
Are you going to turn into Whitney Houston now?
Oh yeah. I didn't want to go to the high.
To be honest, I was trying. I don't know if you see. I was trying to see if I leave something open. If my girlfriend was, I was trying to say to her, stop the music.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you very much.
One of these videos with TikTok, no, nothing.
Okay, not the good stuff, the bad stuff. All right, I got you.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
But I was watching that whole situation develop. I think there was some lasers being somebody was shining lasers into there as well. If you watch it back, there's like green light being flashed into the referee's eyes as well while that melee is going on. I think we don't see kind of what happens after that as well between Tomovic and Hendy, but I'm pretty Hendy chucks Tomovic to the floor, and I think he then goes on top of him as well.
No,
so it looked like
Tomovic grabs Hendy.
Yeah, Tomovic grabs Hendy,
and he tries to pull him down to the ground. But
Tomovic
kind of
goes down.
It.
Yeah, and then Hendy then is about to go into him, but it cuts away in the highlights package before that, and it all kicked off. So obviously you've got all of that happening on the pitch. Everybody
they fight more in their mind than actual. In the actual.
Yeah.
In their mind, they have they find how they punch each other, but what's happening there was very fun to me.
No, it was. I think like when it was happening, I was like.
The thing is, I think, as Savvas said, Tomovic was obviously angry with the result, but I think the past maybe 3-4 weeks, AEK aren't the same. They look very tired. They're having players sent off. They're playing 97, 98 minutes like they played APOLLON when Vardar scored the winner the other week. It's game after game. They don't have the squad depth. They're having injuries. Obviously, Grushko hasn't been playing. Altsman hasn't been playing. Now the red card for Ledes. It's all adding on top the pressure and the tiredness. And again, they're playing West Ham on Thursday. Then they're playing again on Sunday. It's all psychological, but they're more tired. And Ledes, the foul with Ledes, if you watch it again, before the foul, he tries the same thing. If you watch it again, he tries the same thing, doesn't foul him, and then he tries him again, and then he gets him. I think it's tiredness and it's frustration as well. And it's pressure. Yeah. It's pressure, isn't it? They've never had a challenge like this to challenge for the title, and maybe they're thinking this is their last chance to do it. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it's across the club, so it's not just the players. I was going to say there's the melee that's happening on the pitch, but at the same time as well, there was something involving Xavi Roca and Andone, and the fourth official as well happened. So Xavi Roca was sent off kind of after the fact. Andone got a yellow card for it. And the fourth officials reported that Xavi Roca punched him.
Not punch him, that he said something to him, that he... I think.
Yeah, but they talked about a punch as well, because when Xavi Roca got off the plane in London today, I think it was somebody at Gerkida who interviewed him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that video clip up in a minute. I'm gonna put it up after some of the people that are watching the video can see it. Not obviously us, because we've been going on for 2 hours, but I'll put it on at the end of this conversation.
But yeah. And basically, it was like the fourth official came towards him, and Xavi Roca said, anyway, something happened, and it's been written down in the referee's report that Xavi Roca attacked the fourth official, and then Andone tried to get in between the two, and something happened. All the while, the melee that happened on the pitch also happened. So it's all a big confusing, just angry mist over the whole.
And I saw that one specific player, I'm not going to go into the details, but I saw someone from the opponent that was not, let's say, celebrating the win in the proper way. And what I did, I went downstairs in order to avoid to create any incident. Ivan Triskovsky, well-known player, not only for what he's doing on the pitch, out of the pitch, as a witness is there, was speaking with the coach of Apollon. And I went to them and I said, the coach to Apollon, please go and take your player, because I think can create a problem. Go and take your player. Please go and take your player. I was speaking like this with the coach. No one bad word. Maybe shouting because was a lot of people, and shouting to him because maybe he didn't listen to me. I was telling to him, Apollon coach is there in order to be a witness as well, if it's necessary. Okay. Then this person came to me, the fourth referee, came to me in an aggressive way. He approached to me. He invite also my space corporal. That's why I tell him go away, and I touch him like this in his shoulder. I touch him. I didn't hit. I'm 49 years old. I never in my life. I touch, I fight, I punch someone. So what I'm gonna do with a fourth referee? I'm not crazy. So as I said, you can ask. Nowadays football is football. No, it's a war, big war. But thanks God, with 2 phone calls, you know each other. You know how everybody is, and you can ask about my behavior. And I was respectful always with everybody, especially when they are coming to our home. Okay, so I want to explain that it was not true that I punched him. Actually, it was him who came to me in an aggressive way, threatening me with his manners, And then I react. Of course, I react, but I react touching him and telling him, go away, don't touch me. That's why I was 2 minutes or 3 minutes telling him, don't touch me again. Don't touch me again. If he's someone who punched someone, why I was 2 minutes telling him, don't touch me again, and he was there waiting? Has no sense. Has no sense. Okay? So, and he said that I punched him, I went to him, and I was arguing with the opponent coach. So completely lies. Completely lies. This is not the truth, and I'm not able to let him to damage my image, and especially AEK image, because I belong to AEK. AEK is our club. Everybody knows, well known, how we are treating everybody, opponents, referees. When sometimes we have reason to complain and we decide to follow the policy to don't complain about that, respect them and support them. Okay, so I'm not able, as I said, I'm not able to this guy to road whatever he wants, because this is what he did, road whatever he wants. That happened. And also he said, and also Kyriakos was there. Kyriakos was there as a witness. He followed everything. Not only Kyriakos, because people can say, it's Kyriakos, it's from Apollon. People, team manager, people from Apollon, they told him that absolutely was false and was not true. And secondly, he said the same about our coach, that the coach pushed him or pushed him, or I don't know what he did. And Enios, well known also, and with good reputation in the Cypriot football. I think if you ask about Enios, no one is going to say not even one bad word about him. He was there. Thanks God he was there, following everything, and he knew that I was saying, again, not the truth. Okay? As simple as that. Sorry, because as I said, I don't want to be the protagonist, but I believe it was my duty to come out and to say this, because as I don't allow this guy to say it, because now, okay, they will hear us, he wrote whatever he wants, now they will punish him probably, but at least I want the people to know what exactly happened.
The atmosphere between this, the atmosphere is very electric in the last matches between these two teams. Because I think, I'm not sure, maybe it's because I won against Apollon when Apollon was fighting for the title without having a chance to win it. Now Apollon win 2 times and cut points from AEK. So there's a contra that, I mean, APOEL'S OMONOIA, okay, it's in derby. ANORTHOSIS AEK, it's in the, even if ANORTHOSIS is from Famagusta, it's in the same town. Apollon, okay, but we see for the first time, the last 2-3 years, these two teams to have a contra that I don't know how it started, but it keeps going.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. You see every big contra between two teams, there's a reason. But I'm trying to find the reason behind all this, because in the last 2 matches especially, very much happened more out of the area or inside. With this
But it happened with AEK and Salamina as well, didn't it? With the fans and then the journalists getting attacked from Sida Vision.
As I said, it's in the same town again, maybe something in Larnaca. I mean, this is Larnaca against Limassol, and it's not even of town. And I don't know if it's because of they are fighting for the title last year or Apollon winning, that maybe AEK win against Apollon. But okay, anyway, what you were telling before about AEK, I think AEK it's in the best and it's the worst time for it, and I will explain why. Now you are in the game of title. I mean, you are 3 points away.
3 points, yeah, I think.
Yeah. So you are in the game of title. Nothing is over. Have another 9 games and you're there. And at the same time, you are playing in one of the most beautiful stadium in London against West Ham, where you can't go there and not play. I mean, there's not a choice like this. It's in the mind of the footballer. I will give my best and my best self there, and you don't know, maybe someone will see me, some scouters, anyway. So at the same time, you have all this tiredness, all this psychology, all this pressure, but at the same time, you can't get rest. You can't get rest against West Ham. Maybe you concede 5 goals. You go for the title. Maybe you lost the game against Apollon, but you are still in the title. There are only 3 points because of the draw of APOEL. So every week that goes by after the game against West Ham and AEK, it's near of APOEL for 3 or 4 points, things will get even worse after every defeat or draw of AEK. Even if, for example, APOEL goes against PAFOS and lost, and then go AEK and lost against ARIS. And it's interesting to see how this is going to be for more about AEK.
Philip, do you think ARIS will be challenging now? Do you think they will climb up the table and be the biggest challenger to APOEL?
Why not? It's there. They are playing very good football. They are winning games. They show that they can win against every opponent. They don't have the pressure that APOEL and AEK have, to be honest. So maybe these things will play its role at the end. But I see that APOEL, even if they are not playing as good as ARIS, they are finding a way to get the result. And it seems like a team that you see them and you are getting more sure about them other than ARIS, then maybe he will win APOEL and the next game he will lose for, let's say, OMONIA, that don't have, not because of the team that doesn't care about anything this time.
No, you're right. You're right, 100%. 100%. Right, Thassos, is there anything else you want to discuss very quickly before we wrap it up? Because we've done almost 2.25 hours.
Yeah, no, man. It was going to be some funny stuff. Tornaritis going off on one again, but that's about it. Yeah,
never surrender.
Tornaritis, man.
Just very quickly, what did he say? What did he actually say this time? We'll finish it with this guy. Let's finish it with this guy.
Yeah. No, I'll just do. So obviously, they had the big president's meeting with the Mazic and Gumas and all the presidents of the clubs. And the only thing that came out of the meeting was the Cypriot FA's press release saying that we discussed this, and this, and then there was a Q&A and everybody's happy. Except, Tornaritis, his Facebook profile is open for everybody to see. So I went to go have a look to see if he had anything to say, about his Filipineses or anything. So, basically, he went and made a complaint. So I'll read what's on screen, but in English. So yesterday we had a meeting with the president of the association and the referee committee on the subject of refereeing. One of the talking points was about the event of a week ago when I entered the VAR van where the referee Marios Christoforou was. We paid a €5,000 fine and was banned for 2 games. We sent a letter asking that Christoforou is no longer specified, at least for the time being, at our matches. We asked for the rest of Olympiakos games that foreign referees are used. And what was the result? Where is the police? Where is the prevention of violence? How much provocation? A state held up by crutches tolerates and watches mute without being able to react. The comments are yours. Basically, Marios Christoforou was the referee that was given to them in the match after they complained about not having Marios Christoforou, because Marios Christoforou was attacked by Tornaritis in the VAR van.
Yeah.
So obviously he will have a bias because Tornaritis attacked him.
Wait.
Every time Tornaritis puts out a Facebook post and he ends it, I kind of feel like he's going to end it with like Seferis, Galvos, Empirigos, Solomos.
No. It's a paragraph. It's a paragraph that they are saying in the first paragraph one thing. In the second paragraph, it comes to delete what it writes in the first paragraph.
There it is.
And it's amazing. It's amazing. And you see these things again. Really, he posts this thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
on his Facebook,
profile.
It's like, I attacked a referee, and then I told them not to put that referee on our matches, and they put the referee in our match.
And where is the police to stop me from attacking the referee?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It's crazy. And you read it again, and it writes the same things you read for the first time.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Savvas, as a journalist, how entertaining are these people when you see Tornariti, when you see, Manidara bringing all the, like APOEL'S, they do these statements online. It must be, obviously sometimes it's really quiet in the news, but then these things happen and you're thinking, wow, they do the work for us,
Yeah. There's two opposite to νομίσμα of the coins. So
two sides of the coin, yeah.
Yeah. So it's the one that it's true that it's that time that you are reading these things and you are trying really to think what is in their mind, or if someone writing it for trolling you, or is it for true? Sometimes I don't find the answers. So it's so surreal, it's so crazy, it's so like near of a troll that you don't understand that if it's true, or if you are really reading these things. This is the kind fun, and to the other way, you are trying to do your job, and then if you try to find or to say something else, you will find your tombelazo by trying to tell them, for example, okay, Christoforos, what do you want to? You write something. We love. What do you want to say that? You said to us that you attack a referee and you ask where is the police. You really ask this. I mean, if you and you call to find, or maybe someone, your boss say you, okay, call him to tell you what does he mean, and you answer to you things that, okay, so I can't get serious journalism in Cyprus because I won't have any serious answer from anywhere, and I will be always with the nerves. So I'm just moved with that way. So you tell that, you mean that? Yes. Okay, if you mean that, I will put it. Okay. I mean, who am I to change Torno?
Absolutely brilliant. Well, Savvas, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Obviously, the time difference is 2 hours, and it's midnight in Cyprus now. So again, we really appreciate your time, Phil, and it's been a pleasure, and I hope that you can come back on again. We appreciate people that know the Prodathlon, and even people that don't know the Prodathlon, but to have your point of view, knowing the game as you do, we really appreciate it. Do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you on social media or anything that you'd like to promote?
Okay, I have my own channel, Savvas on Tour, that I do some podcasts, interviews, some for football, some other not. I have the podcast, the Blue Zone podcast. I prefer to follow these kind of things than me an individual, because I post more things there and on what I'm doing than my personal things or anything. That's where anyone can find me to see what maybe it will find interesting. Thank you very much for hosting me. I was always have as a, not exactly a dream, but as a thing I wanted to do, to make a podcast in English, to see when I will speak about football, how good my English will be. So thank you very much for giving me the chance.
Perfect. Your English is better than mine.
No, but the thing is that I'm not thinking very much what I'm going to say, just to make the other understand what I'm want to say. That's what I'm trying to do when I'm speaking English.
You're doing very well. You're doing very well, Phil. Congratulations. It's very good. It's very very refreshing to have someone that speaks so well and knows the league as well. So your input's been fantastic. Thassos, anything? You got your Twitter handle and all that. Flares Cafes at the bottom.
There
you
go. Yeah,
and I'm going to put all of Savvas' socials in the description. So so you can find Sava and talk to him about ANORTHOSIS. He's got plenty to say about his club and everything. So there you go. Well, that's it, boys and girls.
Thank you very much. Really, thank you very much. I will love to be again here whenever.
Anytime. Phila.
Thank you. Good night. Have good night. Have a nice day. It's night even in London or in France. So we'll see you guys. Thank you.
Lovely. And that's it for another episode of This Is Mappa. Give us a follow on Twitter at This Is Mappa. We're also on Instagram. So follow us on that. We've got some very decent followers everywhere. And next Tuesday, we're hoping to be joined by a very special guest. Someone may have heard of him, but I'm not going to mention his name on air because it hasn't been confirmed. But he should be coming on to talk to us about the Barathima. So until next time, boys and girls, good night, everybody.